What's up, everybody? It is Thursday, April 23rd on the Dimer Sports Betting Podcast. It's Greg and Dave. As always, the NFL draft is tonight, but we've got baseball, we've got the NBA playoffs, and plenty more to get to as well. Dave, how you doing?
I'm pretty good. I'm not really in football mode. The draft kind of feels like an anomaly, an aberration right here. Baseball's just getting started. Weather's heating up. Playoffs are getting rolling for hockey and basketball. So I don't know. I'm kind of not really in this zone. I wish it was a few weeks from now, but it is what it is.
Yeah, it's a very weird time in the sports calendar for an event so big. I feel like when I was really little, the NFL draft felt enormous, like this big spectacle. And now that I'm 32 years old, I'd just much rather watch the first round of the NBA playoffs. So I don't know. Luckily, this is why you have multiple screens. I'll have the draft on one and make sure that my team doesn't implode tonight. But there's some real sports to bet on as well, Dave. It should be fun. We have a full show for you. We are going to unveil a new prop segment near the end of the show. We're going to go back and forth a little bit, snake draft style, for some props that the model likes tonight. We've got home run picks for you, as always, and, of course, another NBA playoff Thursday night preview. But let's begin, as usual, with some things you should have bet from last week's show.
Should have bet that.
Technically Tuesday's show, not last week's show, but we did nail Jason Tatum rebounds. This was the best prop angle for Tuesday night of the entire slate. There was an edge on his alternate line of 11.5, plus money even all the way down at 10.5, and he smacked it. He finished with 14 boards on the evening, but sweet spots, Dave. We talked about those, and that also led to some wins.
Sweet spots were really nice. All three game lines on the show cashed, Kings and Canadians plus 1.5. Those cashed in both games so far in their series, and the over 9.5 in D-backs White Sox. That signal helped us find a really good value on two bottom five offenses that ended up cashing yesterday as well. Both games have gone well over the total, both with a sweet spot. I'll tease there's one tonight. Actually, it's not tonight. It's this afternoon. So, we're streaming this live. So I can tell you got about 35 minutes to go bet the third sweet spot of D-backs White Sox. We'll see if it sweeps that particular series. And then the props, which debuted or sweet spot debuting for MLB props rather, went 4-2 in their debut, cashed 3+ money lines. They went 1-2 last night, both losses on a hook on strikeouts, but we did cash the best odds of the three. So that signals off to a pretty good start there. And then the home run round robins, basically passed the torch to Jason this week as I was off. He picked up a pretty quick hot hand and letting him roll with it. Ended up cashing ×2 in the past 3 days. He got a ×3 last night with Matt Olson, Colson Montgomery, and O'Neill Cruz. We've got one going on right now with some daytime dingers. So hopefully maybe by the end of the show, we'll have a ×2 in the books with more to come. But good start for Jace taking the reins on the round robin there. So thank you, buddy. And good luck rest of the way, especially today.
Good work, Jace. Love to see it. These round robin, home run round robins are my favorite way to bet that strategy. And I feel like Dimer's almost trademarked that a couple of years ago before it really got popular to do those. So good to see they're still rolling to the success. Shout out to Jace. And shout out to everybody that is a Dimers Pro user. Make sure you get that 3-day free trial, dimers.com/subscription or in the app. Either way, sign up, try it out for 3 days. You'll love it. And then we can give you more info on how to get the cheapest possible Dimers Pro subscription. All right, let's go straight to the NBA next. A 3-game card for Thursday evening. And this is kind of the swing spot in the series for many of these. We've got the home and home. We've got first home games for all of these game threes. And I think suddenly there's some new life in a few of these series teams that are feeling like they might have a real chance that, I don't know, I was overlooking coming into game 2 on Tuesday. So let's reset a little bit. We'll start with Knicks Hawks. But yeah, the Hawks tied it up. CJ McCollum, clutch, isolating Jalen Brunson down the stretch. And all of a sudden, there's some pressure on the Knicks in this game 3. What does the model see here?
Yeah, blew a 12-point fourth quarter lead, lost by 1 in that game after winning game 1 pretty decisively. Yeah, now they're on the road. They got a 52% probability, that is the Knicks, to cover the spread here. No, it's actually a pretty decent edge, 3.2%. Looks like the odds have moved in our favor there. Also getting what looks like nearly a 56% probability to win. 5% edge right there. That should be the best bet of the day in the NBA unless something else has popped up. But you get that fair around minus 130. So you can get a little edge on most books, even though the best line is on Novig. And then basically a 50-50 split on the total. No value there, really. 1.2% edge because you can get plus money on it at Novig. But if you can't get that, there's not going to be an edge there. Did go under this number in both games. Very close. Actually, no, the total was 215.5 when I had this in my notes. They finished on 213 and 215. So at this total, you're looking at a 1-on-1 split at the 1 point higher at the original line that was up this morning. You're getting both of them under, but very, very close. Knicks were in control in both of the games, except for the end of game 2, really. In Atlanta's house, I don't think they're going to be, mismatched more than they were in either game. And I do like the model's value in the bounce back, given that they largely or should have won both of those games. Were largely in control for the 7 out of 8 quarters. And if you can get anything north of like minus 120, you just kind of lose the value on the money line there, and it loses the edge that makes this bet appealing in the first place.
Yeah. I tend to agree the Knicks have controlled every moment of this series. Obviously, they let game 2 slip, and I downplayed the Hawks' chances in game 2. So, you got to be careful with this stuff. But to me, the Knicks are definitively the better team. Almost a little bit of a market overreaction to me. I'm glad to see the model endorses my gut feel on this. 56% chance the Knicks win, and this is basically pick them as a line. So I'll be on Knicks outright in this one. It's just a simple belief that I can bet the better team decisively in a pick 'em spot, regardless of where the venue is. What about props for this game? Where do we start?
Let's take a quick look. I know there's a few interesting angles, at least regarding rebounds, which is kind of a fun one to look at. Let's see if Cat still has his edge on here, which it doesn't look like he does, which kind of makes things more interesting to me. He had a 55% probability to go over, I believe it was 11.5 boards.
It was a huge line this morning. I was looking at it, and I don't know, it almost like it felt like it was an alt line with an edge, and then it scared me off of it a little bit.
The value in that alt line is probably gone, which is why we're not seeing it anymore, because I doubt his probability to go over has changed much, because his projection is basically the same. But he did only grab 8 boards in the first 2 games, and it was Josh Hart with 13 and 14 leading the way. Let me check the projection, see if Josh Hart is in here. He's got 9. We're projecting right at 9 boards. And with his points projection, well in the double range, which is plus 202 on DraftKings, pretty decent plus money opportunity if you want to follow the trend. I would have said go straight value with Cat, but it looks like his edge is gone. So, I'd probably lean Josh Hart to go a little over his line. Either take that double or, at plus 202, his rebounds line is probably 8.5. So we've got him going over that as well. And then Hawks-wise, see if that edge on Jalen Johnson that I saw earlier is still here as well. Doesn't look like it, but looking at his projections, we've got him for 7 assists. And you might be getting a little bit of a discount here. He recorded just 3 in each game so far. It was pretty close to even money at minus 107 on DraftKings. His projection might even been around 7.5 earlier. So it looks like it's maybe ticked down just slightly, but might be a little discount on him there. Projection certainly likes him to get kind of back to his usual game in this one.
Nice. Yeah, I think that's the right way to approach the Cat stuff. Just an intriguing one of those ones you see on site, and it's like, wait a second. Like, he had 8 boards in the first 2 games of this series. Like, obviously he's capable of like a huge rebound game any night.
Should.
Yeah. The fact that the edge was on the alt line is like head turning to me. It's those moments where Dimers Pro seems to almost try to tell you the script before you even realize it. So, all right. I'm mostly staying away from props out of weirdness in this one. Give me Knicks money line. Let's move to game 2. Cavs, Raptors, and Cleveland is trying to make this series a snoozer for us. We'll see if Toronto can get some revenge at home and make things interesting. Looks like this could be one of your favorites, Dave. Potentially a middle spot here. Would you play this at all?
That's a little tight for me, honestly. And I don't know, just the way the series has gone, this spread feels too tight as well. Neither game was as close as the final score looks, and they were both 13 and 10-point wins, so they weren't exactly close anyway. But the Cavs took early leads that they just simply didn't relinquish throughout the game. They were able to rest starters later in game one. 3 of their starters scored 25-plus points in game 2. No major edges in this game. You got a little bit on Cavs money line here, 3.5%. Probability has gone up a little bit since this morning when it was around 59%. So you're getting a better edge and a better probability here. It does come with a little bit more juice than I generally like to play. Close to 50-50 here on the spread. Pretty much exactly 50-50 on the total, which went well over in one game, just under in the other. And it's a road game for the Cavs, but the Raptors just really haven't shown enough for me to get behind a cover, to entertain the middle or even think that they can hang in this. Overall, the best play is on the Cavs money line, even if there is a little juice. But like personally, I think I would honestly just lean for Cleveland to cover for a better price. It's not something Toronto has been able to do yet at larger spreads. And while it's very close, it's still under a 50% probability for them to do so, which just does not instill confidence in the Raptors to keep the shortest spread yet close just because it's on their home floor.
Yeah. Yeah. How much value do you in general feel like home court is worth in an NBA playoff game? Have you ever assigned a number to this?
Not really. I just think it varies so much per team. If it mattered a whole lot, I don't think the Knicks would have coughed up a 12-point lead in game 2 at home. The Nuggets and Timberwolves, which we'll talk about in a minute, played almost completely opposite games, both of those in the same court. So I don't know. I don't think it really matters all that much. Maybe in the finals when you have literally the 2 best teams, but in these series that are sort of mismatched, I guess, except for maybe the Wolves Nuggets, which is probably the closest of these 3, at least tonight. I don't assign too much to it. I don't think too much about it.
Yeah. Okay. That makes sense.
Unless there's a seriously good trend,
This is trending toward being a night for me where I just bet all the best teams on the money line as road dogs, or I guess road favorites in Cleveland's case here. But I don't know. You're getting the better team at a closer number to me, especially in a matchup that has felt like a very pro Cleveland, almost dominant type situation here. I don't like to overthink it and overassign value to the venue switch. Now it can flip obviously on the drop of a hat, but I think both these lines feel a little bit thin to me. And the fact that the Dimers model seems to agree with both of those is enough for me to add these to the card. Let's go to props next in this one. And let's see. What do we like here? Brandon Ingram is the top scorer, but he's been off to a slow start this series.
Yeah, again, similar to Jalen Johnson with his assists. Maybe you're getting a little bit of a discount here on Ingram, getting a line at plus money, 21.5. He's projected for 22.2. Just hasn't quite had it in the first 2 games, really. I think only 7 points in game 2. Really bad shooting night. It's been the Barnes and Barrett show. Got both of them projected around 20 points or basically right at. Yeah, 21 for Barrett, 20 for Barnes. Don't hate taking them both to score 20 plus. Do so for the 3rd straight game in the series. And then Donovan Mitchell projected just shy of 30. He's got 30 in both games here. Don't love a lot of rebound or assist props in this one personally, because if it's another one, the best edge here on Jared Allen is for an alt line. But if it's another game that the Cavs are just completely in control of, you might see these guys sit again. You're going to lose out on some valuable minutes for particularly Evan Mobley and Jared Allen, James Harden, who are the guys that you would most likely be looking to for rebounds and assists outside of Donovan Mitchell, I guess. So not super interested in those. Let me go to the projections real quick, just because there's one player I got to look at. And it's going to be funny because I probably won't be able to pronounce his name correctly, but Sandro Mamukelashvili, is projected for 4.7 rebounds. He's led the game in rebounds both times because of fewer minutes for the Cavaliers guys, the bigs, and he's popped off for 8 and double digits in the other. So he makes an intriguing little alt line ladder play based on how the trends have gone in the first 2 games, but cautioning that we do only project him for 4.7.
Yeah, interesting. Mamu, one of my favorite college basketball watches a couple years ago. This is a fun prop game for me. 2 of my 3 props for our prop draft that are at the top of my draft board later in the show come from this game. I don't want to spoil too much, but I'm following a couple trends that have hit a couple times early in the series that already appear on our edge page here for props. So more on that later in the show. Let's go to game 3. Nuggets Timberwolves. This has the look of a series that could go 7, which has felt like the case every time we've seen Joker and Anthony Edwards in the playoffs in years past. These guys have a history, and they usually elevate their games to some pretty big moments, and it usually is a 10-round fight. This time, it's the Timberwolves with a chance to take the early edge, moving home for game 3 after stealing one on the road in Denver. And again, look, I would never encourage you to middle 1 point in a basketball game, but that's kind of what the model shows, right? There's a probability the Wolves cover 1.5, and there's a probability the Nuggets win the game.
Before I bet the middle, I would just bet overtime. These teams are very evenly matched. Both of these games were tied at halftime. Nuggets fell behind double digits in the first quarter in game 1, came back, tied it at half, never looked back. Timberwolves did the exact same thing. They fell behind double digits, came back, tied at halftime, never looked back with the win. So expect another close one with our final projected score right inside the 2.5 point spread, which we have at a little higher probability now. This was closer to 50. Oh, it's because it's 1.5. So you got a little bit better probability than there was this morning, but slimmest edge of the 3 teams on the money line with the Nuggets. Pretty sizable probability though at 57%, but it is the lightest edge of the 3. But yeah, value on all 3 road favorites in these games. Wouldn't shock me to see that happen at all. Both games have gone under this number. Not going to find me looking to buck that trend as we have a little lean at barely 51% and no edge, but something, food for thought, I guess.
Yeah, I like your thoughts. I'm on board with your thoughts. Let's go to props. What do you see here?
So this game's got our top 3 projected scores of the night. Probably not going to find much value on their points lines because they're going to be pretty inflated, but you can have, let's see, Joker for 29, Murray 29, and Anthony Edwards 29 points. Don't think we'll see Joker and Murray both go off for 30 in a pretty competitive matchup, but wouldn't surprise me to see Murray and Edwards do it. Back-to-back 30 pieces for Murray in this series. Anthony Edwards has 30 in one game, so might entertain a 30.2 legger similar to the Raptors 20.2 legger for the guys who you expect to run the show. Murray did it in a game that he was dialed in with 6 threes, and then did it in a game going 0 for 8, bricking every single shot in the second one. He just finds ways to score. When you're getting a lot of dimes from Nikola Jokic, that's not too hard. And then, of course, who else but Nikola Jokic projected for a triple-double. 29 points, 14 boards, 13 assists. Did so in one game. Gets an edge on his assist prop as well. But I'll save that for a later part of the show so we don't get ahead of ourselves here.
Yeah. I have my eye on Joker. More on that later. But that triple-double projected includes a very tall assist projection at 13 assists, which has not mapped with what he's done at this point in the series just yet. And just, I don't know, is way over the line even. So again, I'll speak to it more later in the show, but it's one of that and the cat rebounds are the 2 that like almost have an alt line projection blown out tonight where it's like, what does the model know? Has the model seen the script for this already? And usually those are good moments to buy in and find a way to get it on your card. So, all right. Anything else on NBA before we turn to baseball next?
I think that's a wrap for me. We got a few more things on it we'll touch on later with some parlay stuff, so we can We can move on.
Yeah, just stay tuned. Wait about 10 minutes and we're going to have a snake draft prop parlay coming back to the basketball world. All right, now it's time to turn to the night games on the MLB card for Thursday. A lot of day games today in the baseball world. I've had my Tigers on TV for the last couple hours, Scoople on the Rock, and now here we are. We've got a few big-time matchups to choose from. Yankees-Red Sox rivalry is under the lights tonight in Fenway. We've got Twins-Mets, and the Mets have been rolling lately. And then Pirates-Rangers, another game to discuss. You're laughing, Dave.
Yeah, Mets rolling downhill. That is, but they are so back, man.
In a Mets way, not a Yankees way, you little Yankees fan.
Hey, I'll save it for when we get to the Mets game, but I very personally attacked the Mets yesterday with my wagering. But yeah, let's go right into it with the rivalry renewing tonight. Closing out the series here before the Yankees pick up another one versus the Astros this weekend. Yanks won the first 2, 5 wins in a row now for New York. Red Sox are last in the AL East. You can get an edge on them to cover plus 1.5. You can get an edge on Boston to win. And we've got an edge on the over 7.5 as well. But you've got a very tough matchup for Boston with Cam Schlittler taking the mound for New York. He's been excellent. He was very good last year. 1.95 ERA right now, 0.76 whip, 3 games, not giving up a single run. And you won't find this in the data, but there was a story this week about him and his family receiving some death threats from Boston's finest fans. So you got to assume he's a little extra motivated tonight, probably not going to take it lightly against the Sox lineup. But this Yanks lineup is super loaded, so the over might be feasible on their own. I would certainly lean that of the 3 plays, even putting my biases aside. It's just a very tough pitching matchup for Boston. Meanwhile, they're starting Peyton Tolle, maybe, a young left-handed pitching prospect, pitched just 16.1 innings last year, gave up 5 home runs in that. 1.59 whip, 6.06 ERA this year. Righties have had his number in his brief stint in the bigs so far. So it certainly feels like it's a Yankees game. It's the rivalry. It's baseball. Never know what's going to happen, in a game. But the matchup is certainly leaning on New York. The Dimers model tells you there's some value on Boston. I would personally just go with the over of the 3 and kind of avoid that negative pitching matchup as much as possible.
Yeah, I have my eye on the Sox starter. You mentioned him. Prospect could be a stud one day. Who knows? Only 16 innings last year and kind of got bombed in a couple of those starts.
Mm-hmm.
So, I think Yanks props have my full attention in this game. Is there anything specific you want to shout here?
Not much from the model here. The only prop is on Schlittler's, the under on his outs, which kind of correlates with the Red Sox covering and the money line edge. So I get that. He's under in 3, over in 2, but he also might have a longer leash tonight if he's dialed in, given the drama. It's a decent edge here, a solid probability. Not for me personally. Again, I would just stick with the over from the main edges in this game that stand out. And then talking home run guys, obviously Judge leads our home run probabilities, but at around 19%, which is among the lowest that we have seen for him. You're not going to get an edge there at all. And then you got Giancarlo Stanton in second at 17.7%. Absolutely obliterated one over the monster onto the streets of Fenway in the first game of the series. Got some wind blowing in from that direction. Might be a little bit to contend with tonight. That is his preferred side to hit homers out to, but it's not exclusively. He spreads the ball all around. Hasn't hit lefties super well this year, but he's always been pretty even against both sides, so that should level out. Said literally the same thing about Kyle Schwarber the other night. Him not being able to figure out the lefty-lefty matchup yet, but historically being very solid in it, and then he went yard. So you can get Stanton at plus 416 on DraftKings, which is nearly a fair price. Aaron Judge is Aaron Judge. You got Ben Rice crushing the ball this year, but Giancarlo Stanton's got almost a fair price, which is pretty hard to get on these top slugger guys, and does line up pretty well for him.
Yep, I'm all over multiple Yankees here. I think Yanks is the side in this one. lots of decent home run numbers. Obviously, no edges. You don't see them on the props, but like if you just look projected home run probabilities on the player projections page tonight, there are a lot of Yankees at the top for the night slate. So whether it's Judge, which you're paying a premium on, obviously, Giancarlo, who's only 1% less likely than Judge to hit a home run. And then you mentioned Ben Rice, who's been mashing the ball. I feel like really the top 3 Yanks are all in play for a live bomb at Fenway tonight. More on that later in the show from Dave, but let's go to the second game on the card next. Twins and Mets. What do you see?
Yeah, the Mets are back, man. They won a game after dropping 12 straight. Maybe it was the Juan Soto back in the lineup, just his presence, maybe, or maybe it was because I put $5 on them, 100-1 to win or to not win for another week in an attempt to troll my Mets fan buddy. That certainly gave them the push they needed to break through and finally win a game. So Mets fans everywhere, you're welcome. And Steve, if you're listening, you do owe me a beer for my $5 bet. But tonight we favor the Mets at, 51% on the money line. That seems like it has gone down a little bit, concerning possibly for Mets fans there. And then on the run line, plus 1.5 to cover, Oh, wow. Oh, yeah. Okay. So we've seen a little bit of movement here. Let me adjust my notes briefly on the fly because we had the opposite with the edges earlier. But so the Mets, you can get, yeah. So that's what happens. The odds change. You get a better price on the Mets to cover on the other side, which changes things. Or if you get plus 1.5, minus 1.5, obviously different. But 64% for the Mets to cover plus 1.5 is solid. Not a lot for me to get invested in at just a 1% edge, though, after they only just seem to, get over their woes. And one game is not enough to start a confident streak in a team that just lost 12 straight and finding very creative ways to lose late in games, taking leads, and then not getting another run for the rest of the game. Once again, the best value, though, is on the over at 7.5, 54% probability. I do not hate that play at all. I will just mention it does not have the sweet spot that we like to see for totals because it's below that edge range, which is plays over a 5% edge. So that market has been very profitable, but tied to the higher edges. So just not quite getting that value that you want to see with the sweet spot here tonight. But the pitching matchup, I think, kind of leans a little bit in favor of that over. Mets are starting a pitcher they recalled from the minors, Christian Scott. Last through 46.8 innings in 2024 in the bigs. He gave up 8 dingers in that little span, and he missed last year for Tommy John surgery and has not pitched in the bigs since. Few quick stints in the minors this year. Joe Ryan's had a home run problem in the past. Been very good this year through 5 starts, though. Only one allowed, 0.88 whip. But I don't hate the Twins getting after the Mets bats today, starting a call up who is making his first appearance in the bigs in 2 seasons.
Yeah, I like that angle. I see that angle for sure. And shout out to the Mets for winning a baseball game, Dave. We love to see that, don't we?
Yeah, it's good for them.
It's very nice. All right, what other props are you looking at here? Anything big?
Not a ton of value again in this one. You get a little edge on Matt Wallner to pick up a hit. He's our second highest probability home run. Do with that what you will. An edge on both pitchers to go under their strikeouts. This is, again, a sweet spot market, but not here due to the edges. They are not at the correct price, at the right edge range. And honestly, for all the Mets struggles, strikeouts have not been one of them. And Scott is pitching his first big league outing in 2 years. Might not have, a lot of swing and miss stuff up against big leaguers that he has not faced before. Top home run probabilities, you got Byron Buxton, 17%. And then, like I said, Matt Wallner, our second highest probability at 15% for the Twins. I'm not interested in Mets hitters in this one because Joe Ryan has been so good this year. Doesn't mean nobody's going to get through, but I don't see anything that, makes me want to get behind any of those hitters. All 5 of Buxton's home runs come in the past 10 days. He hit in back-to-back nights, both in the 6th inning. Do something with that. But I would ride the hot hand without any edge on either any player in this game to speak of. Might have to deal with some wind gusts in that game. So another thing to look out for. Definitely check the weather before locking anything in. But you got some time.
Yep. Always check your weather reports, ladies and gentlemen. The number one rule of betting baseball props. All right. Third game on the card. We go to Texas next. Pittsburgh, Texas, Pirates, Rangers. And the model likes the Rangers tonight.
Yeah, nice little interleague clash here. Both teams in two of the tighter early division races. Kind of fun little trend here, except for one set of back-to-back wins against the Cubs. The Pirates have alternated wins and losses for their past 16 games. It doesn't necessarily mean anything, but it's a fun little trend. And the data kind of points to that continuing tonight. Almost a 60% probability for the Rangers to win and 42.2% for them to cover -1.5. Very slim little edge there. And then our lone sweet spot of the night for another over, all three overs, 7.5. It's kind of a fun little thing tonight. We got all three overs, 7.5 in baseball, and a little edge on all three road favorites in the NBA. Maybe a fun little nuclear parlay there. Whatever. But fun little trends. Currently a 6% edge, which is what puts it into that sweet spot range because it's over 5%. You can hover over that and you can see the exact ROI is 16.0%. Over 120 bets over a 5% edge. So that's some pretty good early season results there. You got Jacob deGrom on the mound. Not going to find me fading Texas or the Dimers data in that situation. He's given up just 2 earned runs since he allowed 3 in his opening start. Seemed to be managing his innings a bit with only one game over 5.0 since then. So I'd maybe be a little cautious about taking any of his overs. He's not quite peak Mets deGrom, 2018, 2019 era, but he's still quite good. And then for the Pirates, you got Bubba Chandler. He pitched just 31 innings or so last year to a 4.02 ERA, pair of home runs. 3.15 ERA this year, 2 dingers through 20 innings. So, showing mostly the same stuff in small sample sizes, though. And then if you check our props here in this game, you're getting, 4 props. So you get the most you do out of any of these. I don't hate the under on Bubba Chandler strikeouts. We had an edge and a sweet spot on Braxton Ashcraft in this same matchup last night. And that cash, you're getting 1 lower strikeout here in this one, but a really nice plus money edge. And then Josh Young on with a huge, not huge edge, 3.4%, but 12.6% probability at plus 980. He's got a bit of a hot bat right now. 3 home runs in his past 6 games, hitting better and better since the start of the season. Looks like a really solid straight. I mean, you're getting almost 10-1 on a guy who's picked up 3 home runs in the past week or so. Past 10 games. So, it's pretty good. Maybe it's the thundery outbreaks nearby that has put up his home run probability, 15-mile-per-hour winds, but they got a roof there. Yeah. So, I don't know. We'll see. But another one, check the weather report, but Josh Young with a really nice home run edge tonight.
Maybe he just wakes up and doesn't like thunder. I mean, it can be a mental thing, even if you're, I'm just kidding, if you're playing inside. All right. Thank you for the preview there. We want to each split up the responsibility for a little home run parlay for Thursday night. I alluded that I'm going to go after one of your guys, a Yankee tonight, but you can go first, Dave. Who's our first leg?
Keep it nice and simple. Give me Byron Buxton for the reasons above. Hot bat, pitcher unfamiliar with big league hitters, top probability in the game, hitting back-to-back games. Give me Byron Buxton. Simple.
Love it. Simple is good. I am going to take a Yankee, and it's not Aaron Judge. I was in between Giancarlo and this man, and if Giancarlo homers and this man doesn't, I'm very angry. But I'm going with Ben Rice. Third most likely Yankee per the model tonight, 14% probability, not too far behind the Judge-Giancarlo duo. But I really think this is a matchup to attack against an inexperienced starter that, has been bombed in limited appearances. I think the big Yankees bats tee off on guys like that. And Ben Rice this season, you mentioned his emergence. He has homered in 5 of their last 6 series. This is obviously the last opportunity to do so against Boston. He's coming off a rest day. He hasn't homered in 2 games this series. So we'll see if that trend continues. Feels like he never goes 4 or 5 games without a bomb. He's due. That's the word for it, Dave.
Yeah, not lately anyway. Definitely not. So there you have it. Byron Buxton, Ben Rice, plus 22.94 on FanDuel. I went ahead and threw a nice little boost on that to get it plus 34.41. And good luck, Greg. Good luck, Ben Rice. Good luck, Byron Buxton. Good luck to anybody tailing along.
Juicy numbers there. All right. Love it. We are going to try something new for this new segment. We're going to do a little props draft. This is in honor of the NFL draft, which takes place tonight, but we just want to go up to the podium and make our own selections. So what we are going to do here is take turns and each build our own head-to-head props parlay. The only rule is that we're selecting from what the model has to offer tonight. You can sort through plenty of options to choose from across all sports here, but whatever you come up with, 3 legs, model sourced, we'll add up the odds at the end and see who has a little more luck tonight. Dave, would you like me to go first, or do you want the first overall pick?
You can go first, but first I've got a little fun sports rock and roll, royalty free, of course, music to tee us up here.
Amazing.
Get my volume levels right. That's good. That's pretty good. I don't want it to drown us out. Greg, take it away, man. What is
this
your first
is amazing.
pick?
I feel like
Thank
you're
you.
the commissioner and you just welcomed me up and I need to shake your hand.
I should be getting booed to hell right now.
I'm excited to see how different our strategies are on this. I'm going all NBA tonight, and my first leg is Scotty Barnes over 19.5 points. He has been crushing in this series, 21 and 26 points in games 1 and 2. But most importantly, he's doing it on volume. He has led Toronto in shot attempts from the floor in both of these games. I don't think that's a coincidence. You look back to their 2 most recent meetings with Cleveland in the regular season. He had 18 on a night where Brandon Ingram finished with like 40, and then he had 28 the other night and led the team in shot attempts again. I think this is matchup dependent, where they really lean into Scotty Barnes as this big guard/wing against a Cleveland team that's a little bit smaller at those positions. So plus money here, plus 125 for Scotty Barnes to hit 20 tonight, and that is the first leg of my prop parlay.
That's a scary pick to go up against first, Greg. You've got me already backed into a corner here. And if you're going all NBA, I will go NBA with my first bet at least, and that is going to be Jamal Murray over 3.5 threes. Yes, our edge is on him to go over 4.5, but we can get 3.5 still at some nice plus money. You project him for 3.2, and since we're going head-to-head here, I don't think I need to try and climb the ladder, but he cashed in one game, or cashed in game 1 with 6, bricked all his shots in game 2. Let's see if we can find a happy little middle, get him to clear his lowest plus money line with a Dimers projection of 3.2 on a top overall projected score in the game. He's made 5, 9, and 6 in 3 games, 3 of 6 games against the Timberwolves altogether this year.
That high edge tag is the equivalent of Mel Kiper giving you an A+ for your pick, Dave.
Let's go, man.
All right, I'm back at the podium for pick 2, staying in the NBA, staying in the Raptors-Cavs series here. Give me Donovan Mitchell, Spida, over 4.5 assists. Just in terms of pure projection from the model tonight, this is one of the bigger discrepancies between where the line is and what we project. 5.2 is his projection tonight. He's had 5 assists and 4 assists in games this series, so right around the number, but he had 8 and 6 assists against Toronto in the regular season. And this is me putting my own personal little sprinkle here on Donovan Mitchell. When I watch Donovan Mitchell in playoff series, I feel like he has 2 uber aggressive scoring games, and then he has one where he approaches it completely differently and just says, I'm a table setter. I feel like I've seen this in almost every 7-game series that I've watched from Donovan Mitchell in his career. I'm banking that that is tonight. Give me Donovan Mitchell's assists.
Very good. You might be flipping the script on me because I said I was scared of rebound and assist props in this game, and then here you go, taking one right from my deepest, darkest nightmares to use against me. All right, so for this one, I had to bust out the Dimers app because we got a couple markets in there new, and that is total bases, and I'm going to go for Josh Young to get 2 total bases. I just talked about how much I liked him, or at least how much the Dimers model likes him. We've got an edge on him to hit a home run. That would obviously cash 2 bags. He's hit this in 4 of his last 5 with a really nice hot bat. He's done it with multiple hits. He's done it with doubles. He did it in a game where he hit 3 doubles. I like him against Bubba Chandler tonight. The model likes the value on him to pick up 2 bags. Give me Josh Young, 2 total bases as my MLB pick in my props draft.
Love it. Go Josh Jung, one of my favorite names in all of sports as well.
It is a good one.
It's a fun one. All right, for my third and final selection in the 2026 Dimers Prop Bet Snake Draft, I am taking the best basketball player alive. No, not Victor Wembanyama. He doesn't play tonight. I'm taking Nikola Jokic, 10+ assists. This is a little bit of an easier leg for me here. And you see some of the things we're bringing on screen are showing that there's value at even higher numbers here. The model actually recommends playing this up to over 12.5 assists tonight. I want a little more luxury, a little more security in my parlay tonight for leg 3. So I'm going down to 10+. But the projection for Jokic tonight is 12.6 assists. If you did want to play these higher numbers, you can get 13+ at +289. You see 12+ in front of you at +175. Against Minnesota, this is the one thing I would say. He's had some odd assist games this year and a bunch of games in this series, totaled 8, 9, 11, 11, 10. So, for our model to project him so high, I have to play this somehow, but that's why I'm playing it down to 10+, just to give myself a little added security in case we see that trend continue in this matchup.
I'll tell you, Greg, this would have been my pick had you not sent me this in your pre-show notes. So I'm a little salty about this. It seems like you personally attacked me with a couple of these. So I can only hope to personally attack you by cashing my parlay. And how I'm going to hope to do that is with David Pasternak to pick up an anytime goal. Yes, this is my longest probability, longest odds of these. But I like Pasta here tonight as we round out my tri-sport action. He scored 1 goal through 2 games of this series. No shots for him last game, which is very abnormal. Personally, I would like to take him for 2+ points. You're actually getting better odds on that, +180. He's cashed that in both games. Ranked 7th in points in the regular season, outside the top 40 in total goals, for a little bit of a down year for him in the scoring department. But we're playing the Dimers model. Dimers model says he's got an edge to score. He's our top probability of that, and I am going to ride with him tonight, rounding out the parlay, my draft.
I love it. 2 different strategies. I'm banging what I know best. You are giving us the versatility that we've come to expect from Dimers Dave here across 3 sports in 3 legs. And 2 different outcomes here as well, because my 3-legger is +636 tonight. And you're going big, Dave, just over 14-1 for your 3-leg parlay.
Yeah, a little bit riskier here. Obviously going all, plus money in that +140, 145, 165 realm. But the data's pretty right here. I like the form for these guys, and we're going to ride it, hopefully to glory. And at the end of the day, I hope we both win.
Absolutely. 2 wins would be amazing for Tuesday's episodes. Should have bet that. All right. Before we close the show, I do want to continue our draft discussion just briefly. It is the NFL draft tonight. And look, Dimers has everything for you. They're not necessarily spitting out guaranteed edges on NFL draft selections tonight, though. So I know you're an NFL guy just like me, Dave. Do you have any pre-draft thoughts, anything to watch for tonight?
I'm just going to be watching who the Cowboys pick. I'm going to be very curious if they get a receiver with all this George Pickens franchise tag and, contract drama and whatnot. For the Cowboys' sake, I hope they get that worked out and Pickens is here at least for a few years alongside CeeDee Lamb. But if they know that that's not going to work out, I'd be fine with them, looking ahead and maybe eyeing the next receiver for the future. But other than that, I don't know. I'm not too particularly invested in tonight's festivities. I just want to see them make a solid pick. They've done a pretty decent job, I think, with the higher picks lately. So I'd like to see that more or less continue.
Yeah. I really feel like the draft can sometimes be a crapshoot. My favorite way to approach betting the NFL draft every year is to try and find some long shot opportunities, whether it's a specific team to select a specific position or even, try to snipe a specific player at a specific spot and, maybe only sprinkle 4 or 5 of those on a card, hope you hit one and almost play it as if it's a lottery parlay that adds up to 1 or 2 units. You have to be careful careful. I just combined careful and responsible with the NFL draft because it's such a fun event to bet, but it really is one of the more random things on earth, and it's full of misinformation. Every single franchise and insider is doing their best to mislead to put themselves at a competitive advantage to the other 29 teams that are selecting in this experience. So a couple of things I would just point out have me intrigued tonight, maybe more so storylines than bets. I really feel like the draft starts at number 2. Mendoza's going 1, and that's exciting. But really at 2, is it going to be David Bailey or is it going to be Arvel Reese? I don't have much of a feel on this. I do think that David Bailey is the more interesting talent. So I'm kind of hoping that that's who the Jets land on it too. But then again, this is the New York Jets, Dave. Would we really be surprised if they go off script and surprise everybody in the 2nd overall spot?
Not even remotely.
Well, right when you think you know what's going to happen with New York, sometimes you get reminded who is behind the scenes there. But if it goes the way I think it will, we're going to see Mendoza, David Bailey, Arvel Reese, 2nd and 3rd in some order. I really like Jeremiah Love to go 4th overall in this draft to Tennessee. I think, back-to-back years where you get the sort of your backfield of the future with Cam Ward and Love would be an interesting combination for the Titans. And it's kind of, in line with the Ashton Genty pick a couple or last season where these star rookie running backs are starting to go higher in the draft than we've seen before. And then at 5, I really feel like it's anybody's game. Sonny Styles is the favorite, who's an impeccable talent. But if you are, like me, going to sprinkle in a couple places, if you wanted to go my exact picks 1 through 5 bet that I try to fire off half a unit on every single year, we are going to go Mendoza, David Bailey, Arvel Reese, Jeremiah Love, and then Sonny Styles with the 5th overall pick. You'll have to shop around because they will give you very different prices at different sports books for that. Make sure you check a couple and see where you can find the best odds when building that parlay. But that's what I'm locking in, Dave. And good luck to your Cowboys. Good luck to my Lions.
Thanks, man. Yeah, we'll see. What are you guys picking at?
We are 17th this year, which really I have no optimism. I just don't want us to mess this up.
Yeah, that's pretty fair, right?
That's what every fan roots for in the NFL draft, right?
Yeah.
It's pretty much how it goes. All right, let's close the show with what else is going on with Dimers this week.
Well, you got playoffs, NBA, NHL, rolling every single day, at least until, maybe some of these series get decided and it voids the schedule on certain days. But you got those predictions up. Sweet spots. Keep an eye on the sweet spots. 3 really good markets right now are MLB totals to the over, NHL puck lines, and MLB pitcher strikeouts. So keep an eye out for those. You can find them really easily with the signal, toggling that on for props or bets, pulls them up really quickly. And should be a pretty good weekend. We'll be back with golf next week. Looking forward to that. I'm going to have to get myself a little bit of Zurich Classic action here without the assistance of the Dimers model. So we'll see what I can do on my own. But until then, it's a pretty good lineup here heading into the weekend. And then, we'll be back on Tuesday.
I believe in you, Dave. Lead us to the golf promised land, please. Thank you to all of our listeners. Make sure you subscribe to the show for more alerts on our 2 episodes a week of the Dimers Sports Betting Podcast. Try out the Dimers Pro 3-day free trial in the app and at dimers.com. Dave, good luck to you this weekend, and we'll see everybody next week. Listen up.